So we talk all the time on this channel about how the RWA sector, or real world assets crypto sector, is basically the hottest narrative right now in the space. But there is a close second. As you may have guessed, I'm talking about the AI space, artificial intelligence, in which a couple of projects in particular are red hot right now. One of them is Virtuals protocol. And over the last 2 weeks, the virtual price, that's VIRTUAL, is up by about 35%. But in addition, if we look at the last year, it's up actually closer to 2,000%. So it's obvious that something is cooking with this project, Virtuals protocol. In case you don't know, they are a launchpad for AI agents specifically. And effectively, that means you can create, you can own, and you can monetize these AI agents. We are going to take a closer look now at exactly what makes Virtuals stand out compared to other similar launchpads. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie, and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck if you choose to invest. I genuinely do wish you well, but I am not a financial or investment advisor. Just keep that in mind. And also remember, by extension, this video is not official financial or investment advice. Let's start off first and foremost and discuss a little bit about what Virtuals is and also define its Virtuals Genesis Launchpad. Virtuals protocol, again ticker Virtual, was originally known as PathDAO, and it launched back in 2021. They rebranded in early 2024 to Virtuals. It also launched on Base, and since January this year, it is also on Solana. Now, on Virtuals, you can launch, like I said, AI agents. You can do this easily, and you can get community funding towards that end. As of this recording, the all-time high for the virtual token was in early 2025 at $5.07. And then it dropped all the way down to 45 cents in mid-April, just a few months ago. That's when the Virtuals Genesis Launchpad hit the market. That triggered a 231% price increase, or about a 2.5x. Now Virtual is back around the $2 mark, just under that. It's down on the day as I record, but it's seen a nice resurgence. And then the Virtuals Genesis Launchpad, that took off on the 17th of April, which very much works in favor for both the AI agent teams, because now they have potential access really to as broad a holder base as possible, which increases their visibility and, of course, market velocity. But it also works well for the ecosystem participants, or so-called virgins. That is VIRGENS, and this means we have access to top-tier agent projects. So there's a point-based eligibility system in place, and it's a system that also offers fair allocation. The more you take part, basically, the more rewards you earn. So Virtuals Genesis Launchpad, it creates an environment that fosters long-term outcomes. Taking part, though, admittedly, is not that easy. I'm going to go over the short version of how it's done, but in the near future, we're also going to release a dedicated video that delves into this in more detail. The short version of how this is done begins with buying Virtual, that's VIRTUAL, and then staking it on their site. This is going to give you Virtual, VEVIRTUAL. That in turn earns you Virgin points. And you should take note of that because it means that just passive holding of Virtual is no longer going to cut it if you want to take part in a new project. So these Virgin points are what you need to pledge to an AI agent in Genesis with some extra Virtual. Once you do this, you are taking part in a project. And if it reaches the bonding curve, you receive its tokens. If not, you get a refund. Virtuals has three main features, really, beginning with number one, Agent Commerce Protocol, or ACP. This offers standards for agent commerce. The second main feature is the tokenization platform, or the Virtuals Genesis Launchpad. And at number three, we have GAME, G-A-M-E. This allows AI agents to plan and make decisions based on all kinds of different variables. So, for example, context, goals, available actions, different things like that. However, today I'm more interested in the Genesis Launchpad specifically. And as already explained, to take part in a presale, you need to pledge Virgin points and Virtual to an agent. Each presale has a 37.5% allocation of an agent's token pool. However, there is a cap of 0.5% of the total token supply per user. This effectively just prevents whales from taking part, and it makes it more of a fair launch. An agent reaches the bonding curve when it reaches 42,425 virtual. There are also a couple of other notable things that set virtuals apart from other launchpads. So for example, early access is really a big deal because other launchpads tend to not have any structure. They're very speculative, whereas Genesis has a strong structure with the points pledging feature. There's also token distribution, meaning insiders often get the best deals. Genesis offers a capped, proportional, and pretty transparent setup. Then there's also holder alignment. Typically, this is a low signal to noise ratio. Genesis rewards active and real ecosystem contributors. Like I said, fairness, this is huge here because typical launchpads have low fairness. With Genesis, this factor is very, very high. Community activation is a big deal. This is very often quite weak with other launchpads. However, Genesis has a pre-launch coordination via points and pledges. At the end of the day, really, the more active you are, the more rewards you get. And in this case, that's with Virgin points. And you can earn Virgin points in all kinds of different ways. For example, and as I've already mentioned, you can stake your virtual and receive V-Virtual in return. You can yap on various social media platforms like X. You can join Genesis launches. You can buy more Genesis agents. You can buy more Virtuals agents, but just don't sell your Genesis. For comparison purposes here, I want to now take a look at some other launchpads to give us a better idea as to why Virtuals really does stand out. And we'll begin here with ARC Forge. ARC, it stands for AI Rig Complex. And this operates to a degree actually similar to Virtuals. It calls Solana its home, and it uses Jupyter's routing system. However, the thing with ARC is that it screens all projects. So it's not very likely to have rugs or scams on ARC. That's good. But then, of course, the trade-off is that this limits the number of available projects on ARC, which is something that does hold them back. It's also set up in such a way that the system doesn't help the token. And of course, this is in total contrast to how Virtuals operates. Certainly on the plus side, though, it launched the beta version of Rhizome Canva during the last week of May. This is the visual builder for Rhizome, which is an agentic app store that powers the whole ARC complex. And then, of course, we also have Creator Bid on Base, which was a promising alternative to Virtuals. However, after the launch of the Bid token BID in late January, it pretty much failed. The token launch had all kinds of issues with a DDoS attack. Both Binance and CZ supported Creator Bid. You can actually find Creator Bid now also on the BNB chain. However, it's also faced other challenges, unfortunately. Monetization difficulties for one, and limited user numbers. This can be probably the aftermath of the difficulties during the BID Bid token launch. Also, it offers limited access to advanced AI tools. Technical expertise also seems to be lacking, and really there don't seem to be any major benefits for long-term platform engagement. It has a siloed ecosystem, and that kind of just translates to limited growth potential. All that being said, Virtuals really in a lot of ways is very much ahead of its competitors. It's also unique in what it does and how it does it. Again, we have a few more videos coming up on Virtuals. We're going to be tackling some of the technicalities in terms of how to go about things in more detail, so be on the lookout for that. I'm going to explain how you can take part and how you can maximize your allocation, for example. So stay tuned for that. Let me know what you think about the platform so far, perhaps if you've used Virtuals. I'd be very interested in your feedback. And by the way, be sure to also join our ongoing discussions that are happening on X and on Discord. As always, I include the links to those in the description below.